All right, people. I got a weird thing when it comes to cartoons. All right, let me preface with this. Before I even start, this is the Geek Protagonist. Now, I don't like retro censorship. I think it's stupid. It's pointless. You're trying to make people forget something, and you shouldn't, because it's a capture of the time frame to also remember, hey, maybe we don't want to go down that route again. And sometimes doing it like taking the comic. I remember there was a thing like with Mickey Mouse where they like took away like his gun or something, and I remember me and my friend were talking about it because his family is huge on Disney stuff, and we talked about this a while back, and he noticed like certain weird changes to something because they actually have a really old Mickey Mouse comic from his, I think it was his grandmom. And he got a new version of it. It was like this little collection thing. It was something. And he noticed like the hands like this and like this while he's talking to the guy and like that. Like it was like, wait, what? And but he looked at the old one and was like, well, oh, he had a gun. And he had like the gun like this, like that, and now all of a sudden it's not there. Or when they did the thing with in One Piece with Sanji, where they decided to change his cigarette into a lollipop, which was weird. And then it's a smoker who used smoke, all of a sudden just had smoke coming bellowing out of his mouth. I guess that one wasn't too bad, but then it was weird because he had to use an outside source, which it would have made sense, cigars. Then you get Disney Plus, and they're doing this thing that I just made me mad. So first they do the disclaimer on the old cartoons, and I'm like, that is fantastic. Don't retroactively edit it, be like, this is what it was at the time. Watch it for what it is, and see the difference, and you might enjoy those cartoons or whatever. You know, you might just think of it as a cartoon, nothing racial or nothing. So then they go to Lilo and Stitch. Now in Lilo and Stitch, instead of keeping, she hid in a washing machine. I think it was, or the dryer. Might have been a dryer. So instead of keeping that, they turned it into a giant pizza box. So you mean to tell me, to correct this, your idea is next to a washer or a dryer will be a giant cubed pizza box. Number one, you should have just left it there. And I know they're like, it'll inspire a child. It'll inspire a child to possibly do it. Or not, since that movie's been around for years, many years, and that didn't have an uptick in that activity. Then you turn around Splash, and the movie's PG-13, but you do see Daryl and his assets. And what ends up happening, they edit out the assets. I'm like, what are you doing? Then don't have the movie on there. I literally have a thing. If you can't present the thing from the previous time now, then don't put it on there. Don't have it. Because if I go buy the Splash movie, I'm going to have it with those parts in it. Not because I need the nudity or something. It's because that's what the vision was. That's what it was at the time. And that's what it is. And I hate when they do that. It's like, don't censor the art now. You mess with it just because you just have to. That's what it was. If you don't want it, don't do it. Simple, clean, done. And I think it's a little, it's like you're retroactively messing with something. Don't do that. That's how I feel. If you want to censor something going forward that you're creating, yeah, okay. Go censor that thing going forward that you are creating, but don't censor the thing. Don't go backwards and then say, like, I don't like what they did with Dukes of Hazzard, where they got rid of the flag on the cars. Now, some people will go, well, why? That's this. Because that was the time period. Those guys were the heroes. It was this and that, and the General Lee, which is the name of the vehicle. General Lee is a Southern I guess, war hero. Not a hero to me, but, to those people. And South loves General Lee and General Lee Carr. And it did all this stuff. And I'm like, don't retroactively do it, because you didn't retroactively fix it in the show. Leave it alone. It's what it was. Keep it for what it is. That's the time period. That's what it is. And then, if you're watching it with a kid and the kid's like, well, what's that? You give them an explanation. Just like my mom did when I watched a movie, how she had that conversation. Now, I already knew, because I told her, oh, I know this is fake because of this thing. Because how she explained it to me was like this. You see this guy, how he got shot in this movie? Okay, see what year that is? All right, that's like 1977. Okay, here's this movie now he's in. What year is this movie? 1985. So see, it's fake. If you really do this, people will really not come back. A conversation. And also too, you need to meet your kid on the level that they are on in order to show them what they need to see, so they don't take it too much in and not have an understanding of what they're watching. Which now leads me to Looney Tunes. I was super excited for Looney Tunes. I love the Looney Tunes. I love the Looney Tunes. I even like the reality show that they did. I watched it. I enjoy that stuff a lot, actually. I love the Looney Tunes. Always have. Now, they have the old Looney Tunes stuff on there. They're talking about, hey, some of the things, the disclaimer. So you come out with the new Looney Tunes. You have anvils, TNT, dynamite, giant boulders. You still run people over with a train. You will do all this other violent stuff. And then you're like, but gun violence is no. So Yosemite Sam, who is a cowboy, who is supposed to have his two, revolvers, and Elmer Fudd, who is a hunter, who uses a hunting shotgun, you thought it would be better to replace it with a scythe? A scythe. So let me get this straight. You think that him blasting off with a hunting rifle is less brutal than slicing someone to pieces? Now, I know he's supposed to be a farmer. That's supposed to be like a reaping tool, even though he could have at least had a sickle. No, that's a full-fledged reaper scythe. Then it's like, okay, that's weird. But then I thought about this. You couldn't have given him anything else that wouldn't look so ridiculous. So he's running around with this, which makes him look like a psychopath. I'm telling you now, if someone stabs you or slices you up, they have to slice you up. That's more of a torturous death, most times. Then I'm like, what are you going to give Yosemite Sam? For all that, since you made him a farmer, you could have had him chasing him with a shovel. And like how someone would do with a rabbit. That would have probably made more sense. You show him farming, and then he's trying to get him, so he's just trying to whack him. This is not a conversation about whether people think of gun violence or anything like that. This is a conversation of, there are so many other options. You could have gave him a boomerang, a bow and arrow. That's a hunting tool. You could give him a slingshot, crossbow. Those are hunting tools. And you could still do the gun, and yet it would have been that, and it would have been like, ooh, I'm gonna get you, rabbit, get this thing going. Like, there's so many other things you could have did besides that. And what about the knife killings and the machete killings and violence? Like, you hacking someone to pieces is probably, that's why you have slasher films, because it's more brutal. Like, what are you thinking? So what are you going to give Yosemite Sam? A baseball bat? And on top of that, if you're going to sit there and you're going to have dynamite, like TNT, the old Acme explosions, the anvils, the rocks, and everything else, hitting someone with a train, how is that less brutal or anything compared to a gun? And what are you going to give Martian? He uses laser guns and ray guns. Or are they fake enough that he can at least keep them? Like, you see what I'm saying? Y'all gotta stop with this PC junk. It's stupid. And if you are going to do it, actually put some thought into it. You could have gave him a boomerang. That would have actually been funny. Especially if it kept hitting him in the back of his head or something. Like a slingshot. Something. You give him a weapon that literally relates to the entity of death. The skull guy, that's his #1 weapon to reap souls. Like we're freaking wheat or corn. And you just thought, that's cool. I need you companies to stop being so soft about these kind of situations. And if you are going to be soft, then put thought into it so at least it looks very creative. That's not creative. Especially, I mean, seriously. Like, if you give someone a stick of dynamite, that's going to take them out. And this is also Looney Tunes, the cartoons. They don't die from that stuff. Wile E. Coyote has fallen stories to the ground and has a rock going in it. You know what it says? Ow. And then he's back up. Like, these characters, I remember I seen Daffy get his bill shot off, or he got spun to the back. And he's like, I can't believe this. Like, so what are we going to do? Are we going to start getting PC with the rest of the characters? What, is Sylvester not going to allow to go after Tweety Bird anymore? Because, you know, it's violent. It because of vegans? Or, like, where are we going with this? If you're going to keep all the other antics, at least put some thought into it. And you do have the opportunity to fix this. You can have that episode be that, and maybe he grabs something else. At least a shovel. But in all honesty, Warner Brothers, Disney, or AT&T, look at what the people are saying. Look at what YouTubers are saying, how ridiculous it is. Because it is. And anybody out here that's like, well, who cares what a YouTuber has to say? Stop doing that. There's a lot of people that care what YouTubers have to say. Because I see that too. Where they're like, oh, you're just listening to some YouTubers. What's that? There's a lot of YouTubers that talk and people follow them. They follow them for a reason. Usually they want to hear their thoughts and opinions. So yeah, if a YouTuber is saying something to them and they agree with it, same thing as if they were watching the news or an info show. Anyway, this is ridiculous. Stop with the... I need all these places to stop with the retro editing for past things. Just move forward. Don't play the past things, if that's the case. And if you're going to have a character and use the character, then use the character properly. Change their role and use them that way, or don't use them at all. And I actually would just prefer you not to use them at all. Because Elmer Fudd does that. You even did a comic book, when this amazing comic book with Elmer Fudd versus Batman. And it's like, you weren't afraid of a gun then. So I don't get it. But I mean, I understand if you want to make a statement, well then be like, hey, we changed his weapon to this. But if he's going to be a hunter, then change his weapon to something that a hunter would use, but may not be a gun for all the other options you could use. But yeah, no, instead, nah, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to run at you with this scythe. And I'm going to chop off body parts. Because that's better. Anyway, this is the Geek Protagonist. I want you to stay safe, stay healthy, stay real. That's enough of my soapbox TED Talk. Just please stop with all the editing and retro. Like just do the thing and just leave it there. And if people complain, let them complain. Simple as that. All right. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay real, and I'll see you. Hey, thank you for visiting my channel. This is the Geek Protagonist. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Please, it'll really help me out in the channel if you actually share these videos, if you like what I'm doing. Please hit that bell notification. Hit it, click. This way you won't miss any of my videos. Also, there's a thing on there that says personal and all. Hit the all. This way you'll get them every time for the notifications. I'm trying to, grow, trying to do commentary about what's going on. And I want to thank you again. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay real. This is the Geek Protagonist. I'm out, and I'll see you.